Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season, following Saints' 20-12 defeat against the Warrington Wolves here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium this afternoon. Kevin, let's start with a positive. There's no chance of us getting banjoed by Lee in a semi-final. And if you were lucky to get through that one, we're not going to Wembley to get absolutely mullered by a Hull KR side who would have demolished us.
I mean, it's slim pickings on positives. I've got another positive. Thanks to the Warrington fans who are clicking on this, are going to get 30 seconds in, give us the views that we so desire, and really boost us. So when it comes round to next year and we want to hit that 250,000, we've done well. So thanks to the people of Orford, of Great Sankey, of the town.
Right, shut up. It was awful.
It was again, two tramps in a ditch fighting over a cold bag of chips, and somebody had to win it. And I think they were probably the better team when it came to taking chances. I think you can't take that away from them. The bounce of the ball was good for them, and I mean that in a positive way from a Warrington point of view. That whatever they did worked, and it didn't work for us. It's a disappointing defeat, but when you have the opening 10 minutes that we did have and don't put points on the board and allow a team to get back into it, you're then struggling, you're then up against it.
Yeah, I think I said that today. That first opening 10-12 minutes, we were on top. And when you're on top, you don't score points, they go down the other end and put themselves on the board. We were trying to be expansive early, but we somehow have lost our way to the try line, it seems.
Yeah, I think we've said it for quite a bit now. I said it in one of our WhatsApp groups. The only team that I was worried about today was us, and it's just the fact that we can't get that final pass, that kind of go for the kill against the team. So get that opening score in the first 10 minutes, then do it again, and take the game away from someone. We're just not good enough to do that at the minute. And then you allow teams back into it. And it turns into a disappointing game because you can see that the teams are scoring off our mistakes and doing what we should be doing, which is just being ruthless. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough from a Saints team.
Our issue last season was the lack of speed, wasn't it, in the back line? Yeah. And if there's any sort of mitigation there, we've played the majority of that game with a back line of Sambu, Batchelor, Whitley, and Benson. And Warrington showed throughout that game that having someone with pace kills you.
Yeah, I think that Whitley and Benison did all right for never played together in them positions, but in the second half it really showed as Warrington just kept on finding joy down that side with Ashton. As you say, speed kills. It literally can take a game away from you. There were far too many times where Wellesby ends up one-on-one with Matty Ashton trying to make a decision, and I think there was one point where Warrington burned through 4 tackles trying to have a bit of an argument and a set 2 on one side instead of settling themselves down. I know if that was Saints, I'd be absolutely screaming at why we've not kind of spread the opposition out this way. There is that mitigation, but there's far too many players playing in the correct positions there who haven't brought their game today, and again, bad decision after bad decision. There's players that I'm not gonna knock effort at all, because you can see the players are knackered after it. The effort is there, but the actual getting through your sets and being completely on your game, it seems to be long gone, and it has been a worry for a while that we've not been able to do it. With each passing week, because I was less bothered about the performance today as getting through, but because we haven't got through, you've got to look at that performance. It wasn't good enough. We go back to the same old. We're just trying to drive it out. With that expansiveness goes. I know you're missing players.
But it's mad. So that Warrington team, you look like you were going to get most joy against their pack.
Yeah.
Just get on top of their pack, and you'll get on top in the game. And we seem to not even did we go away from it, or not even try to go for it? It's only when Darryl Clark came on that we started seeming to like drive forward a little bit more.
I think that's what happens when you have a 9 playing at 9 as well. I think Moses went well, but I think once you have that actual hooker looking at keeping defences honest by running at them and standing them up and making them think that it's not just going to get shoveled out to first or second receiver, it makes a difference. And as you say, you see that when you've got a 9 playing at 9, and this is where obviously recruitment comes in, that you've got to look at having, it's fine having utility players, but you need a 9 there to be able to do it, and do it at the top, at the level that Saints need it to be, and it's currently not at a high enough level for me.
Tristan Saylor, do we need to look at ripping the book up and having a switch around just to see if we can change things? Wellesby to full-back, Saylor in the halves. Is now the time to do it, given it's a long run to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. I think Jack looks a threat with his hands on the ball, and Tristan's looked a little bit enigmatic, a little bit, what are we seeing from you here? I think it wouldn't hurt to have a look at Jack in the halves, Tristan at full-back, Alla, and I'll mention Ben Barber just because he's come over from the NRL, because he's got that pace. He's an elusive runner when he gets a bit of broken field. Maybe it's the time to have him as the third half rather than trying to get the ball through him, because I think defensively sometimes he seems lacking. I think there was one in the second half, first or whatever it was, where he's gone as if he's making a big tackle, kind of slapped the player, ended up on the floor, and you said to me, it looks good, but it's another missed tackle, and it goes down as a missed tackle. Maybe there is scope for changing it there.
For me,
I would be against it.
He's not influencing the game.
Is that because the pack hasn't been on top?
Possibly.
I mean,
there's different factors.
Were, yeah.
But now, the problem is you've got that run of games coming up. You've got Wigan, you've got Magic. But there is no great time to change things. We've lost a couple today with HIAs, Wingfield and Percy. Now the worry is, I think we talked about it in pre-season, it could end up being Percy's had so many within the 12 months, that might be an extended period on the sidelines. We are going to be looking even lighter in the centres. We're going to be lighter in the second row next week. Worrying times.
At least with the second row, you've got James Bell who can come in, the lesser spotted 18th man, interchange today because of those HIAs. Centre, we've said it before, we'll keep on saying it again, it just properly puts a focus on the 3 quarters and the recruitment and retention that we've done there, that we've got lads like Ben Davis who doesn't get in as a centre above a second rower.
On Friday, Ben Davis is either in that squad,
or he should be looking at. He should be at Salford if Salford want him on loan. Yeah. But you've got the likes of Ben Davis. You've got T. Ritson, who goes between being the best winger we've ever had, but from people on social media, which just frankly isn't true. To he's out on loan at Barrow. If we're paying a wage for someone. And forget about salary cap, if we're paying a wage for someone, they should be battling to be in that starting 13, especially as a winger. And you think Connie, again, he's coming back from a bad injury. Was he ever going to get back to the level that Saints need a starting centre at? Jury's obviously out. And this is a lot to discuss.
And this is where we go back to when people are saying, why aren't we signing such a body at the moment? Well, salary cap.
Yeah.
We're at cap. The argument is, and it's not even an argument, I don't think. I think you look at it now, and if you're being really honest, you shouldn't have re-signed Connie, you shouldn't have re-signed Ben Davis, you shouldn't have re-signed T. Ritson, because if you're not prepared to play them, Connie might be slightly different, obviously he's injured, but if you're not prepared to play them, why have you give them a contract in the first place? So therefore you've wasted cap, which is now stifling you being able to bring options in when they become available.
Yeah, agreed.
Not often. The worst part is, the most frustrating thing is if you haven't seen such riches you could live with being poor, it wouldn't even take a very good Saints side to be winning these games at the moment. Because let's make no bones about it, we are being beaten by a pretty poor Warrington team, and that's not being bitter. But they're not very good. Unfortunately, we're even worse at the moment.
I think actual honest Warrington fans will say again that wasn't a performance that they fully expect. They've got the win. Performance probably doesn't matter. You're just into the hat for the next round of the cup.
I think what they have got is they've got a George Williams and a Mark Sneed and a Duffy who are still pulling out big moments when it matters.
Yeah, and we've just not got that at the minute. You can argue that one half-back we're seeing nothing from. The other half-back, he's probably trying to do too much because he's carrying a little bit of one side. You just want to see the balance back. Let others do the half-backs should be letting the forwards and centres and whatever do the work for them. That's where you're going next. You're going, and there's going to be a gap there for you because we've pulled players over and we've made sure that there's like an extra man on this side, and we're just not seeing that. Absolutely not seeing that at all. Whether that's because the pack's getting beaten, whether it's because the half-backs aren't good enough, whether it's a mix of everything at the moment, just a complete lack of form, confidence. I don't know, but something needs to change, and needs to change soon, because we are seeing little bits of it, but you can't see 10 minutes of Saints being expansive and come away from it and think, yeah, we've played well there, because the rest of it is a bit mismatch where you have good moments in the game, but then you let somebody off the hook.
The worry is you're not seeing. It doesn't look like there's a plan at times in games, and that is a concern.
Yeah, it is a concern because I don't want to see structured stuff. Like we were having a chat during it and saying like the NFL, they have playbooks and they go off that. I'd like to see some structure like that. But if the plan is we're going to go out wide, I know we ended up with players missing, but you've got to stick to it. Whoever is in that position, that is what we're doing. That's what we've trained for all week. So if you're a second row and you've been shifted out to centre, you know exactly what that centre's been told to do because you've been playing alongside him all week in training.
So the offload at game times, it's great to see offloads, and it's what we want to see more of. And I'm fans of cover, but the stupid ones at times, and there's offloads for offloading's sake, and we're not actually going anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And you'd end up creating, it's like we're creating panic.
And we do
for ourselves.
We do some of that sometimes as well. We're currently still sat in the stadium 20 metres out, 10 metres out. We do it in this area here. We do it in this 20 metre area where we're offloading it or throwing Hollywood balls. What are we doing? There's a time you can earn the right to play, and yeah, we want to see the expansive stuff. But as you say, we're doing that when it's panic stations. We're 6 points behind, we're 8 points behind, so we're starting to try offloads, and we're trying these. Oh, this will look good if it gets out to my halfback. The problem is, by the time it's got to him, they've shuffled across, and they're shutting your halfback, they're shutting your centre down, and it just ends up being, well, you might as well tuck the tackle there and try to get a quick play of the ball rather than wasting time.
See, there's a lot of whataboutery if we had Kyle Felt, if we had Lewis Murphy fit, if we had Percy fit, and we had it fully fit. But there's only so much whataboutery you can do, because you've got to be prepared every year to suffer injuries and cope with it. And at this moment in time, if we haven't got the best 17 on the field, which we'd find it tough enough anyway, we'd struggle. I'm just watching this big screen.
What lessons have we learnt from last year is one question that I would love to re-ask. What lessons did we learn from last year? So last year when we had square pegs in round holes and we were struggling with so many players out, did we learn anything? Because it doesn't seem like we have. Would you agree?
Yes, and eventually that is what is going to put Wello's job in jeopardy if things don't improve.
And we've just heard under the stand as well that people are saying it's time for Wello to go, and it's people are absolutely entitled to have that opinion that we're now out of the cup. We're probably about par of where I thought we'd be in the league at the minute, but people want better and they want improvement.
I think he'll be given the time by the club.
I think he'll
purely
be
because you can point to mitigation and things, and I think judgments will be judged at the end of the year. And I don't even think he has to win a trophy this season, but you've got to look competitive and look like you're going to win these games. And at the moment, there's too many big games that we're in where it's same old, and we see the same tired results.
Fall into the same patterns as last year.
Is that any different than the playoff game here against them?
No. It's just the it's frustration, isn't it? Because you fall into the same patterns of one out, of panic, rather than just going, hang on a minute. There was it towards the end of the first half when you saw Mark Sneed just saying to his team, see the set out, just calm down. And I know people say, we should have signed Mark Sneed. If we'd have signed Mark Sneed, we'd have had Mark Sneed and Johnny Lomax cutting about. And if we'd have had two 34-year-old halfbacks, I guarantee that the responses we'd have had on Redvee or on social media would have been absolutely horrific. Why have we got two 34-year-olds cutting about at halfback?
We could talk about decisions in the game, but that game wasn't decided by decisions. The frustrating one maybe was when Batch takes it on our own line when we were under pressure and we get the penalty given against us for offside. Listen, it may well have been offside. I can't see.
That's not
the frustrating one there for me is, though, it puts you behind that 8 ball. So as soon as Warrington scored again, it's a 2-score game, and it takes away that little bit of jeopardy in the game. But if it's a penalty, it's a penalty.
I think the frustrating one is the Roderick Ty knock-on that gets overturned. The other end of the field, where that's given no captain's
Tom Grant on
was it
video referee?
Yeah, and that's the kind of frustrating one that you'll see that time and time again, and it'll be reffed in different ways, it'll be interpreted in different ways. As the ball carrier, it's his duty of care to keep hold of the ball. Somebody's just going in for a tackle.
There was nothing obvious on that replay we watched. So the problem is when you've got a VAR talking over the top, video ref talking over the top of it, they just interpret it how they want to see it, and they make it fit, the images fit what they want to say sometimes.
And I just want to go back to what you said, though, that doesn't win us the game. That doesn't change the result.
We knock on the next tackle.
Well, we probably do. Or we throw out a loose ball and Matty Ashton picks
because
it up.
I'm not being funny, how many chances did Warrington give us inside their own 20 from their headers that we failed to capitalise on?
That we just weren't good enough.
Even a shocker like the short kick-off from Tristan Taylor, and he absolutely booms it into the stand. What on earth is that all about?
Frustrating.
I'd have took a better short kick-off, probably because I wouldn't be able to find touch. At least it stayed on the plane surface.
I don't think you'd have found the 10.
I don't even think we utilised that sunshine as enough in the second half with our kicking game. There was one where Moses kicks right across the field where there's no one except Matty Ashton, and then he goes 80 metres. Have we not learnt any lessons from when we played them at our place?
Just put it on the deck if you're going to do that. If you're going to kick that way, put it on the deck so it's more difficult for him to pick up. Because you give it to someone like Ashton, who is as rapid as that, and you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. And I don't necessarily think John Bennison and Matt Whitley had terrible games today. But against Matty Ashton, they're always going to be on the back foot.
2 free weekends, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not turning up on Friday.
I was just going to say, are you bothering on Friday then after that?
No.
Okay.
Part-time supporter?
Yes.
No. I'm doing charitable deeds on Friday evening.
I believe so, yeah. Well done.
So incapable hands on Friday.
Yeah.
Smudge, where are you?
Let's be having you.
Right. Let's put our crash helmets on and brave our way to the car park. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe as Saints lose once again and Wire lift their 6 in a row trophy. Catch you soon.